Hello, it's Melinda from Alexis and Melinda's Art Space. How are you all going? I'm just going to drop my desk down a slight bit. Sorry about that noise. I've got this lovely desk that goes up and down. It's so cool. So welcome. I thought we would crack open these markers today and have a bit of a play and a review and see what they're like. Hopefully they're good. They didn't cost me a lot of money, so if they're not good, it's no big thing. And I've got a Posca paint pen here as well. I'll talk about later. So these are from Kmart here in Australia and purchased quite recently. This is April 2023. So they should still be available if you're watching this soon after. So these ones and these ones, the 8 packs, were $9. And they work out to be $1.12 a marker, which is quite affordable if they work really, really well. And then the 6-pack of black and whites was $7, so it works out to be $1.16 a marker. In comparison, I'm hoping the black and whites compare to the Posca paint pen. Now, the Posca paint pens in this size, which is the 3M size, which is the thicker size I've been using a lot lately, is $5.55 for one. Yeah. So if these are any good, I might buy a couple more packets to stash away because black and white is always what I'm using. Wish they'd bring them out in a bit smaller tip. That would be nice. Maybe we write to them and ask for them. I've had the bright coloured ones since they come out a while ago. Might have been a couple of years ago. I don't know. I found them in my stash recently. I hadn't used them much, so I've got them out to reuse. And I'm trying to put stuff that I use frequently on my desk so it doesn't get lost and forgotten about. So I can use it frequently. Sorry. So sometimes things like this sit in a plastic tub of markers and paint pens and stuff. But I want to sort of have these more on my desk so I reach for them and use them. So we're going to start with the black and white ones first. So I'll put the other ones aside there. I've also got a magazine. We're going to do something fun with that in a minute with the markers. And I've got a scrap of black and white cardstock to test out the markers. So the great thing about the paint pens is unless you activate them, they'll sit in your stash for a very long time. Sometimes when you activate a paint marker, it can dry out in the tip and you can activate them again. Sometimes you can't. Posca paint pens usually activate again. There's a little tip I'm talking about here. If you haven't used paint pens before, it's like a little felt tip. And sometimes if the pen lid is not securely on, the bit of paint in that felt tip can dry out and sometimes those can cause a bit of issues. So particularly with this pack, it may seem simple, but only activate 2 markers. And what I'm doing is, I used to craft, and my craft table would be, the dining room table would be folding laundry. It'd have to be cleared off a lot. So I'd just shove stuff aside and things would get lost. So when I went to use a paint marker, if I couldn't find it, I'd go to my stash of new ones and grab a new one, which is not ideal. So I've got these little packets now. These come from Daiso. And these are all my open whites. From all different companies. So my open whites and blacks from today's little demo will go in there. So these are the ones I go to and use all the time, and they're less likely to dry out. I've also got a whiteout in here that I like using as well. So I put them back in here. I've been doing this for about a month on my desk. I did have them in a big pencil case, and looking through all the blacks and whites was annoying me. So when I was at Daiso the other day, I saw these little pouches and I thought, oh, perfect. So these are all my open black pens, black paint pens, black markers, black whatevers. So I go here and grab them and put them back and don't lose them. So that's a tip with your paint pens. Keep your open ones or the ones you're currently using in a particular spot and don't go and open new ones and then have several of the same tip open. Okay, so to activate these, it says on the back, very small print, cover the cap tightly and shake. Shake it 10 times before use. Recap after use. And then it's got a picture of pumping the pen up and down. That's not really correct. What I like to do, and what I like to do with Posca paint pens as well, is let's give it a shake. Let's shake both of them up about 10 times. We'll do it instructions. They've got ball bearings in them, so it helps shake up and aggravate the paint. The Posca pens have them as well. So we'll give it a good old shake. That's about 10 times. We'll start with the white. So what I like to do to activate my pens, actually we'll start with the black because you can see it. See how the tip's clear? So this paint is held in a chamber here. There's a little valvey thing in here that lets a little bit of paint out. So if you take your pen and pump it up and down, so push it down and push this nib up into here, bring it up, push it down, bring it up, push it down, you're actually high likelihood of breaking the little valve, and then your paint will just flow a lot, and you'll wreck your pen. So what I like to do is, I'm going to do it in the corner so I don't get paint everywhere, is push it down and count to about 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I bring it up. And you can see it's still white, but I actually can see some paint coming down into this chamber here. It's very light. So we'll do that again. We're only pushing it down. We're pushing it down and holding. We're not pumping up and down. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And getting new pens started. Oh, you can see the little streaks of black? Streaks of black coming. So that means the ink is coming. So we'll do it again. Pens that have not been used or straight out of the packet do take a little bit to activate. Now I can see mostly coming down with black. The white one's a bit hard to see, so that's why I did the black one first. So I'm just holding it down, counting to about 10. Now you can see that tip is almost coloured, and you can sort of have a bit of a play with it and see how that tip is nicely, it's making nice thick lines. Let's actually have a play with the Posca one and see if the lines are the same size. So that's the Kmart one. This Posca one's nearly empty. Been giving it a good bashing. Ooh. Kmart one's slightly thicker, but it works. Yeah, slightly thicker in tip. Okay, helps if I put the right caps on. I thought that'd be the same tip because they're sort of the same barrel. Okay, let's take this Kmart one. I always give them a shake when I go to use them. So I just want to do sort of like, oh, excuse my head, section and see what the coverage is like. Ooh, pretty coverage. We're going to give that a buzz with the heat tool if I don't knock everything. So that's almost dry. Ooh, it's drying nice and flat. Here we're just going to write Kmart. Kmart Paint Pens. So obviously nice and thick. Oh, I just got black everywhere. So it is paint that's coming out. So I don't know whether you'll be able to see, but it is shiny. So when you're using these in your projects, don't put your arm back over your paint because you will smudge it. So that's why I dried this one with the heat tool. So that's really cool. So let's activate the white one. Then we'll give it a shake. The white one's going to be harder to see because it's white and it's got a white tip. We're going to hold it down for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You can sort of start to see, I saw a puddle, so I knew it was right. So I'll just have a go. Ooh, interesting to see how white this is. Because what I find, personally I find the Posca paint pens, the white is not white enough. I usually have to go over it twice, but that's just me. Ooh. Okay, be careful about that. There is a two-part pen, and I've just felt this one was very, was coming apart. So the two sections, so I just did it back together. There's no point swatching white on white. doesn't take long to dry. Oh, and that is quite white and opaque. Ooh, liking these. Okay, let's get into, so let's put the rest over there. If I do like these, what I might do is actually go, I may have said that before, I may go and buy a second set of white and black, or even a couple of sets because they're so reasonably priced. And, oh, this one's got a white in it too. I wonder if this is the same tip size. Looks like the same barrel size. Does it have a tip size? 3-point bullet nib. What does this one say on here? 3-point bullet nib. So I do get a white one in here, but I do go through the black like there's no tomorrow lately. I do a lot of line work in my art journaling. Haven't been putting much up on this channel recently just because I've been busy with work. I'm just going to put these in rainbow order, otherwise they're going to annoy me. So we won't activate another white one because basically I think this looks, oh, exactly the same. But it doesn't look as white. That's weird. It doesn't look as white in here for some reason. Maybe it's just a grey barrel. I think it is. Because all of them have the slightly grey barrel. Okay, so we're not going to activate that white one. Let's stick that white one back in here. Because there's no point having more than one white activated at once. I'll be a good girl. That's the one I've activated. So we're going to go in with yellow. Again, we're going to give it a good shake. So I've just got some scrap paper down here that I'm doing lines on. This gets covered on my desk, and then eventually I will tear it up and use it as collage. It gets paint on it, it gets everything on it. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe I'm counting too slow. Oh no, I see it coming out. So this one is like a creamy colour. Does it have colours on it? That'd be nice. Water-based. Nope. Does not say. What are we going to call this one? Cream. Am I going to have enough room? 2, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we're going to have enough room. Oh, I should have done it on white. Let's do it on white too. We're just going to ignore my big splat of paint there. So that one works better on black. You can sort of see it on the white. So I gather these pastel... Okay. When you're shaking your pens, hold on to it. I gather these pastel ones would be more suited to darker cardstock or going over darker paint. Let's activate all these. They don't take long to activate. Certainly the bright ones I've got the set over there. I might just pull out and show you the colours at the end. I don't know whether I did a video on those. If I can find the video, I'll link it below. I don't know whether I did a video on those. They've got forgotten in my stash, so I've pulled them out again to actually get them out and use them. Trying to organise all my stash lately, trying to group like with like. And I've got another video I've got to film called, what is it? What do I call the series? The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. That one started up. And it's going to be adding the Forgotten. So I was looking for something, what colour are we going to call this? Mustard? Mustard. So I was looking, short story, long story into a short story. Oh my God, I can't talk today. I was looking for something the other night and couldn't find it and ended up going through a couple of tubs of mediums and glitter pastes and stuff and found a whole lot that had dried up. So they went in my can't use them anymore. So plus I found quite a few things that were almost empty that were now too empty to use. So you can see that this one's a bit better on white. So it's a good idea to get your... I'm going to move this magazine out of the way. It's a good idea to get your supplies out. I'm going to throw that. I'll throw it in my printer where the sheets print out because that's about the only space left on my desk. So it's a good idea when you get your supplies to swatch them out. And then I will put these cards somewhere so I don't lose them. I might just hole punch them into a little folder. And then when you grab your paint pens out, you go, oh, that looks better on that colour. That mustard looks a bit streaky, but I think it was just me. It's better on the white. So this one's, I think, apricot. I might go over that mustard swatch because I think it was just the pen was just, this one's going, just started. So I think it was a bit streaky. Oh, this one's what, apricot? I haven't got a lot of coloured paint pens in the Posca paint pens because as I said, these are like $5 and $6. I bought a few and I've activated a few and I use a few, but I want to use a whole lot more coloured ones. And when I saw these Kmart ones, I thought if they are just as good, why not? Actually, that mustard. And they draw well over the top of each other. I find some paint pens struggle to go over the top of each other. What's this one? Apricot. These are really working well on the dark cardstock. I've got light pink. And they're quite opaque too, which is really nice. Mustard's still a bit streaky, but maybe it's just me. Might not be as opaque, as in dense colour as the other ones. This is light pink. Hope this is not too boring, but I do like to come on and have a play with stuff we've got available in Australia. I watch too much YouTube, I'll put it that way. And a lot of the time I see stuff in America and we just can't get it down here in Oz. And I don't see a lot of people doing reviews on stuff we can get here in Australia, as in Kmart brands and things like that. Yes, I love my Posca paint pens and I use them and buy them lots, but it's also nice to have a cheaper alternative if it works. If it doesn't, like if I bought a pack of paint pens for $9 and they didn't work real well, $9 is not, yes, it's a lot of money to waste if they're not very good. But if I bought 8 of these, that's $40 of the Posca paint pens. And if I didn't like them, or if they didn't work very good. Posca paint pens and I have had issues in the past of them sort of clogging up, and especially not this one. These ones with the felt tips are fine, but there's a few finer ones which I prefer to use because they're finer in tip. But they've got a bit of a metal tip on them, and I'm the most impatient person around. So when I go to use paint pens, I'll use them over paint and matte gel medium and stuff, and I don't really want to wait the recommended time because, as I said, I'm a bit of an impatient person. And I'll often get wet paint or wet gel medium, wet glue into the tips of the paint pens, and that's the worst thing you can do. And then you kill your paint pen, and it's not going to work no more. That pink's not as opaque. It is on the white. It is looking more opaque on the white. Now that's very interesting. So you've got to be very careful with your paint pens. That it's sort of, you've got to make sure your paint on your page is really dried and cured. If you've got texture paste or gel medium or glue, you really have to be patient and wait a few hours. In reality, art channelers are not the most patient people, and we probably are not going to do that. But that's, yeah, that's really what we should be doing. Especially if you use Diane's spray inks, the Delusion spray inks. Come on, this one needs a little bit more help. There we go, that one should be good. Especially the ink sprays, even the Tim Holtz Distress sprays, those have probably got to wait 24 hours. Darker pink. So these tips aren't good for writing because they're quite fat, but they'll be good for colouring in certain sections. Oh, you can really see that in the white. Calling that darker pink was probably not the right. It's more of a medium pink. And you do want to make sure your caps are on really tight. Let's do blue and green. So I tend to use these thicker type paint pens for colouring in bigger areas, and I use the thinner type paint pens for a lot of more line work and a lot more smaller detailed work. So yes, I could get a paintbrush out. Like, I don't paint as I say, I use these for painting larger areas, not large as in like my whole page, but larger as in like this sort of area or a bit bigger. Yes, I could get paint out, but sometimes I like the control of the pen. I can control the pen a bit more than a paintbrush, and it's a lot quicker. Oh, this one is quite pastel. This one's a baby blue. Oh, it's a nice colour. Excuse my handwriting. My handwriting is terrible. I should have been a doctor with the state of my handwriting. Be nice to be paid like a doctor. So that white's staying really nice and white. I'm really impressed. I think I might be getting some more of these to put away my stash. Now, I had to order some of these on Kmart online. What I find is I'm in a fairly big regional town of about 100,000 people. We have one Kmart, but sometimes what I see online and what's available in my local store is chalk and cheese. I did order, because I wasn't going to the Kmart. My Kmart's about 2 kilometres up the road, but I don't get there very often. I did order the black and white ones online, and I did order the acrylic paint pens online. These ones I picked up in store because I didn't see these online when I first looked. So I shop a combination of both. The advantage of ordering online is they have a special deal with Kmart at the moment in April 2023. It might change. It's $4 postage per month, and you can get free postage. Doesn't matter what you buy. You can buy a $2 item from Kmart, and they'll post it out. Trust me, I tried it. Alexis wanted something, and I didn't need anything else, and yeah, it was a $2 item and come in a big box. So it's $4 a month, and you can get free postage from Kmart, Target here in Australia, Catch.com, which is originally where I signed up, because I buy a lot from Catch.com, bits and pieces, and I believe there's somewhere else. But don't quote me on that. But $4 a month, like, if you don't sign up to be the $4 a month, you can sign up for 1 month, get your thing shipped out, and then cancel it. That's fine. If you don't, it's like $14 postage, which before Kmart, and they've only sort of recently done it in the last 12 to 18 months, I think. Before that, I would not shop at Kmart because it was like $14 postage, and it was just ridiculous. But $4, it's a bit too easy. Let's just dry these off a bit. So I'm really impressed with those colours. Some of them aren't looking as opaque on the black as they are on the white, but it could be the way I swatched them as well, so it'd be interesting to use them a bit more. Okay, now let's turn these over if they're dry, and let's have a go of these ones. Now, I thought these were paint markers because they look very similar, but they're actually metallic markers. They don't say paint on them. They say metallic markers with a 2-tone glitter effect. 1 pen, 2 shades. Colour looks different on darker or lighter paper. Sounds interesting. There's a few paints in the scrapbook industry that do that. They look different on darker and lighter paper, which does my head in. My brain does not like it. It's like when you drink that clear soft drink, but it has a lime flavour. Nah, my brain just does not want to play with that because it just doesn't like it. So it looks like we have to it looks like we have to prime these as well because, oh, they must be paint markers. It's got the same primey thing on it, and it's got a ball in it. Oh, they've got quite a fine tip on them. These will be fun to use. So these are a 1mm bullet tip. So again, just holding down the pen. Oh, these are a lot quicker. So I'll just do a swatch. Because these are a finer tip, they will... Oh, okay. So this one is like pinky chocolatey colour on the black. I don't know whether you're going to see that. It's more showing a pink glitter, and this one's like got a brown undertone with pink glitter. I'll call this one brown. And you can't really see brown on that one. Let's go and do the blue. Give it a bit of a shake. Oh, this one looks like it's got a bit of ink started in it already. I don't know whether I'll use these on black dark much. You can sort of see it. You can sort of see the glitter. These would be good for accents and things, like not bigger amounts. So on the black, it's sort of, you got blue glitter, and then on this one you got blue base with, actually that one might be, so blue. So it looks like these ones have like a paint base, and then they have the glitter in it. So obviously on the black, the glitter's just showing up. That's like a bluey green, and that's the pink. And then on the white surface, you see both the paint and the paint and the glitter. I'm trying to spit out. These seem a bit more scratchy in their nib, but they are a smaller nib as well. Maybe with use they'll soften up a bit. I wish they'd bring black and white out in these. Can we email Kmart and go, please, please, can we have black and white ones? So again, it's sort of green with a green glitter, but on, ooh, that's interesting. The blue one, as it's dried, has got like gold glitter in it. And we'll see what happens when the other one dries. We'll give it a bit of a help to dry. So the blue one has got like goldy glitter in it. The green one's got blue glitter in it. Oh my god, these are going to do my head in. These are just not going to... No, my head's not going to like it. This one is gold. Oh, I'll call this one yellow. We'll call the next one orange. Silver should be interesting. These aren't taking as long to activate because they're obviously smaller pens. What do we call this? Gold. Oops. Can't see where I'm writing. Ooh, that's pretty. That gold is pretty. It'll be interesting to see what that does when it dries. Whether it stays gold or whether it goes a magical another colour. This one's orange. I suppose it's gold or yellow. That one didn't take long to activate. So these ones, as a refiner tip, I'd probably use them as more accent colours. Especially because of the glitter. Ooh, this one's interesting. Okay, maybe that one needs a bit more oomph. Doesn't seem to have... Oh no, I have glitter on that. Didn't seem to have enough glitter when I swatched it out. Now I've got to trace over orange, the word I wrote, without being able to see what's underneath it. These are interesting. So we'll do pink. We've got two more, and then we'll grab out a magazine, pick out a page, stick it in our art journal, and have a go with these colours in our art journal. That's mainly where I use the paint pens over magazines, to add sort of the last top sort of accenty layers to things. And if you've watched any of my videos, you'll see me do that. As I said, I haven't been very regular on this channel. Just work is keeping me busy. So I do have a work channel. It's linked below. A YouTube channel called Scrapbooking and Craft. That's my business and my job. Make and manufacture stencils, foam stamps, chipboard, and stuff like that. So I have this is obviously what I call my personal YouTube channel. So my daughter and I get on here and have some fun. I must encourage Alexis to come on again. Haven't done a video together for ages. We've been that busy lately. It's not funny. So linked below is the Scrapbooking and Craft channel. Oh God, where did that go? Let me pause for a minute. I've just dropped the lid on the floor somewhere. Oh my God, I did a good job of that. I knocked the pan lid next to the leg of my table. So I thought I'll get a broom and just flick it out. I flicked it under the leg of the table. It's got like a hollow bit. Then I had to get on all fours and with the ruler and flick it out. Oh, seriously. So these are looking really, really cool. I don't know. Oh, you can see the glitter. So we're up to purple, silver, and then we'll get and do some... this one's already activated. I haven't done purple, have I? No? Purple. Purple's a nice colour. And it's quite a fine tip, actually, if you hold your pen upright. That's what I find with paint pens. Everyone grabs a pen, and so you hold it on a 45-degree angle usually, but paint pens tend to paint pens prefer to be more up and down than on an angle, if that makes sense. Well, it does to me. I tend to draw with my paint pen, especially the smaller nibs seem to want to work better. Can't get words out today. Seem to want to work better when they are straight up and down. What's that? Horizontal? Vertical? No, vertical. And silver. Yeah, and your silver would look nice on black. There we go. Oops. Pretty colours. So on the white you can see the glitter, obviously, but the undertone of the like the paint in them, you see more. But on the black, that paint almost disappears on every colour and you just see the glitter, which, as the packet says, 2 in 1 colours changes colour. So that would be really cool. And it's good to know that if you pick up the pen and you're wanting a dark pink line, but if it's going to do this on black, and it's a good idea to swatch them out, sorry, because then you know what they do on different materials. So that is fun. So I will have to file these away somewhere, and my swatch cards, so I can find them. I'm sort of building up a collection of swatching out my stuff. So these will probably go in my won't use as often pile, but I'm actually starting let's move my drink out of the way. Where? I have no idea. Put that up there. I've actually got, this was the pencil case I was using from my black and white ones, which wasn't working. So these are the colours of the original set, and I was just on the Kmart website finding those prices, and I believe they still have these bright ones in stock, and then these are the new ones they've bought out, including the white one. So within that, you've got a fairly good range of colours. So these I haven't used a lot. As I said, they sort of got put aside and forgotten. I did reactivate one of them the other day, and they reactivated very well. It just took a little while, but we're going to use the pastel ones today. So my idea is to keep them in this pencil case on my desk, and I will reach for them. My desk is a nightmare. I've been designing like mad. And I don't tend to clean up between projects, which is very, very naughty of myself. Okay, so I'll put those aside. I need a cup or something I can throw these in. which I don't have, but this might work. Little container here, just to get them off my desk. So now I'm going to do something that I've seen a YouTuber do. So let's have a look through my magazine first. I collect lots of these fashion magazines for collage and for my art journal. And I will link her below. She does a lot of sped up videos, but she takes a magazine image and then draws like a big abstracty dress on it and does a lot of pattern work with her paint pen. So I'm going to try to find a picture like that that'll work. We're going to do a page in our art journal trying out these markers. But if you're only here to see what the markers are for, then that's great. You can go and play, or if you want to grab some paint markers, and they would be really funky, but I don't think the colours go. I just want like a normal head, as opposed to an abnormal head. And I want a bigger, sort of a bit bigger head than this, but not a huge head. Now I'm being particular. Those colours in her face won't go. And trust me, I probably picked a magazine that, ooh, she might work. But she's got a hand there, but I could cut that off. Okay, let's go with this one. Let's not flip through. Just double checking the other side to see if there's nothing that's better. But I'll use her head. So I usually find all my fashion magazines at the op shops. I don't tend to... Oh, God, now I'm flicking stuff everywhere. Seriously, discoordinated today. I don't tend to pay a lot for my magazines. I do have quite a stash at the moment, so I'm not really looking. Do I like that handbag? Would I use that handbag? Maybe. Oh, terrible. So I have got a fair stash of magazines at the moment that I've collected over the last few years. So I'm slowly going through them and using them up. Just put those swatches on top of my bin, which was highly intelligent. Now, if I take her... I sort of want to cut her fingers off because I don't have to deal with her hand. I know that's probably going to look really funny. Now let's just trim it down. Let's just trim it down like that. So I've got my image. I've got a page in my journal. Just ignore this colouring over here. We might put something over the top of that in a minute. I've got a sheet of paper. Stop your eye from getting distracted. It's not flat, but I'll put my scissors there. Blonk. So this art journal is nearly finished. It's half falling apart. I'm so rough on my art journals. They travel with me everywhere. They get taken to classes and flipped through 1,000 times by people, which is fine. I'm going to adjust that camera in a second. So this is one from Art and Craft. Yes, it does look like one from another manufacturer. I might just zoom out a little. Can I zoom out while I'm recording? Yes, I can. There we go. Perfect. So it's obviously a bound album and it has this creamy paper in it. It's not the best paper. It's great for paint. It's not good for inks because this is from, as I said, Art and Craft. And I've torn some pages out of it and I've taken a chunk out of the back of it as well because it's well and truly expanded beyond the size of the album. So with my art journals, I usually take about 1/3 of the papers out before I start to allow for expansion, because when you add paint and collage and paper to front and back, it gets bulky, and your album, this is your spine where my heels and my hand are, it'll end up looking like an alligator and you bust out of your cover. So before I start a new art journal, I take about 1/3 of the pages out. Obviously didn't take enough out of this one. I keep the pages, stamp on them, paint on them, and use them and stick them back in the art journal. Hence why it gets bulky. So just using a Yoo-hoo glue stick. I often work in altered books as well. Just depends on... This sort of technique can even be done on a... I'd probably suggest cardstock, just because you're putting paint on it. Like photocopy paper wouldn't really work. So just using a Yoo-hoo glue stick, A, because it's on my desk, and B, it's a dry adhesive, so I don't have to wait for it to dry. So we're going to stick her here. As I said, I'll link this YouTuber below. She does a lot of quick, super fast sped up videos of her doing this. I don't think she's actually got one where she's talking, so I don't know where she's from. I believe she's maybe if non-English speaking, like first language. So a lot of YouTubers that don't have artists that don't have English as their first language tend to do a lot of super sped up videos and music instead of voiceovers, which is fair enough. But yeah, what she makes is really pretty, and I've been wanting to try for ages. So she sort of starts with the head, or she has lately. She leaves the head, so I'm going to leave the head and the hair, but I'm going to make, I probably should have stuck her a bit higher up the page. Oh well, oops. Now, I want to give her like a teardrop body in some sort of colour. Do I want to go darker and then lighter? Or, okay, we'll go blue. No. I don't know what colour. Blue. Okay, so what she tends to do is we'll do a big teardrop body, and this is very, very abstract. And then I'll do it with the other colours, and then we'll colour it in. So then she does like that, maybe like that. I think I've gone too big to be starting with, but we will persist. So I've done blue and I've done pink. Probably want to do apricot. So I'm sort of just doing shapes to give me a guide to then painting. And yes, I could go get acrylic paints, and if I do this a fair bit I may, just because it'll save your paint pens, but for today's exercise she does it with paint pens. So this is just on the raw cardstock that's in this particular album, particular art journal. It's decent paper, but it just doesn't like ink sprays or a lot of water, because as I said, it is the right brand of this type of album. It's not the other brand. I do like to try out a lot of brands and a lot of different things. There must have been something on my... Why did I start there? Because now I have to dry it and not drag my hand through it. So it's going down quite well. There must have been a bit of gel medium or something on the paper, because I've got a bit of a... It's resisting a bit down here. Now we're going to come up and do here. It'd be interesting to see how it goes over the magazine. Might have to do a couple of layers over the magazine. As I said, if I was going to do this again, I'd probably paint this in with real acrylic paints, but... And if you find your paint pen is not running as it should, if it's... yeah, you can put the caps on. The end, if it's not running as it should, if it's not coming out enough, just press it down and hold it for about 5 seconds, because what that little valve does in there is it stops all this paint from gushing out. So it lets a little bit of paint out and a little bit of paint out. So sometimes if you're drawing too quickly, and I find sometimes I do draw it too quickly, the little bit of paint in the reservoir you've used up, and you need to bring some more down. Usually it will flow down itself. So this is just a base layer. I might have to go over that bit of magazine again. We'll do this pink spot over here. So the pens are working really well. Nice coverage. Yes, there'll be little bits of white or cream from the paper here and there, but I'm not worried about perfection. I'm not worried about being perfect, because I'll show you what the next step is in a minute. This is like a base coat. You won't see 90% of this when it's done. So this is just on raw paper. I haven't sealed it with gesso or matte medium or anything, and it's taking the paint pen very well. So this will be a real test up here, and as I said, I may have to do 2 layers over the magazine. but it seems to be going on the raw paper really nicely. But I also do want to test it over magazines because that's what I like to do. Just press it down a bit to see if I can get more paint coming out. So if the paint's flowing properly, and that's the other thing with paint pens, is sometimes you have to slow down. I tend to find when I'm, and the next step will show you what it is, I tend to find sometimes I want to move the paint pen too quickly and you won't get a really nice line because that paint needs time to come down from the barrel of the pen into the nib. Loving these colours. Not usually a pastel person, but these are a bit more, they're sort of pastel, but they're not really pastel. What I'll do is I'll leave that to dry on the magazine there, work on the blue, and then I'll come back and put another layer on. Then we'll do the next bit. Actually, I'll start down here because that pink's a bit wet, so I laid my hand over it. And it'd be interesting to how these paint pens go over each other as well. Like when they're dry, they should layer up nicely on each other. As I said, this is a little fun exercise that I saw put the paint caps down. Another person on YouTube do, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. I probably won't get mine as nice as hers, but see, that pen's getting a bit streaky now, so just hold it down, count to about 5, and then away you go. So if you hold it down and you count to 5 and not more paint's coming through, your paint pen may be running out of paint. But usually I can hear that. Here, I might, while I'm on that conversation, if I shake this one, it has a different tone to I shake this one. This one's nearly empty. So when you shake them, as you're using paint pens more, you should be able to pick up the tone of the pen. Now we're getting technical. The tone of the ball, and I know that black one's nearly on its last legs because I can hear that it's not swooshing around as much. Does that make sense? Clear as mud, right? As I said, I'd probably paint these next time I do this, but I can't be bothered going and getting the paints now. I'm nearly 3/4 done. It's not taking that long. So some papers will be thirstier than others, will soak up the paint. Others will paint or will sit on top. It depends on what paper you are using. But you sort of want a decent cardstock to do this amount of paint pen on. Whether it's paint or whether it's paint pen, you don't want to just use a flimsy, like photocopy paper that comes out of your photocopier, because it just doesn't like that amount of water or that amount of liquid on the paper. Okay, we'll just do up here now. Oh, that blue's covering quite nicely. So I'm sort of trying not to, when I'm on the magazine, go over and over where there's wet paint. I'm sort of doing lines next to each other. So now I'm going to go over the pink, just to make it more pink. And yes, this colour will be slightly different where your magazine is to where your raw paper is, but that's just the way the paint pens react. And who's really going to get that close to work to criticise it? Probably Miss Alexis, but Okay, so we want to give that a bit of a dry. Now, I'm actually going to bring some of these other colours in because I want to go a bit darker in places. Probably bring in this one and maybe some purple. Don't really want to bring in the bright yellow, bright orange. Don't know how much I'm going to use that one. Maybe just those two colours because they sort of go. Okay. So now if this is completely dry, it's a little wet still on the magazine. I'm not really liking how her head's cut off, but hey, that was the one we found, so that's what we're going to go with. This one I know I activated the other day, so this one should be right to go. Where's that bit of paper? Yep, this one is right to go. Okay, now, what this lady does is she comes in and puts a lot of pattern in these circles in different colours. So I'm just going to do a dashy line to start with, and then we're going to go I tend to like doing stuff like this. I suppose you could call this a type of Zentangling. Like you're putting patterns down, and I'm deliberately leaving a bit of space between my lines because I'll show you what happens next. I was going sort of opposite, but now I lost the plot. Oh well. Oh, I've got a bigger line. So these seem to be layering over each other very nicely. Some paint pens you go to layer over the top, and the top, when you go to do a second layer, it actually disturbs the layer that's underneath and goes to pull it off, which is not ideal. Okay, so we've got something like that. Now she goes in with a different colour. Let's go in with what? Ha! Here go my swatches. Okay, so on blue, do I want mustard? Is that the one I used? Did I use mustard? I think I used mustard. I didn't use yellow. Okay, we'll try yellow. Then she goes in and does more lines between the lines. I don't know anyone growing up used to have those, I'm going to take my glasses off to do this, so I apologise if my head gets in the way. Growing up you had those magic eye pictures, and you had to see a picture within a picture. Not that this is going to do that. But it's a bit like that. It's a whole... I'm probably making a mess. She does a lot better. I'll link her channel below. But basically, we are just filling in between the green lines with some cream dashes. And it basically just builds up pattern. And she does in hyper mode, so it takes her about 2 minutes to do a whole page. It's like, yeah, I wish my arm would work that quick. See how we've got, I'm hoping you can see, I'll put some closer photos. Let me put my glasses back on and see if I can see the screen. I don't know whether you'll be able to see, but now you've got two colours in there. Let's do another colour. In the pink, I want to do purple. This one I'll probably have to reactivate. No, this one's pretty good. Okay. So now what I want to do is, what sort of pattern do I want to put in these ones? Let's move that. So I'm just going to move my book up a bit. I'm going to do dot dash dot, yeah, really, dot dash dot dash till I stuff it up, and then it will just be dot dash dot, whoops, nearly stuffed it up. I shouldn't talk and do this at the same time. Oh, now my dots and dashes line up. I didn't want to do that. For me, I find this quite calming for my brain and quite enjoyable. Other people might not. So each to their own. If you find enjoyable, great. If you don't, it's not for you. But some days I want to do something, but I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to think too much. See, I'm not thinking, and I'm messing up the pattern. Doesn't matter. No one will know. It was meant to be that way. So sometimes it's nice just to sit there and play and make marks. And the great thing about these paint pens is they don't have a smell to them. Some paint pens have like a solvent base to them. They're not like an acrylic water-based. I think they say on them they're water-based. They say water-based? No. I say on the... Well, this one says alcohol-based opaque pigment. The one... Ah, that's interesting. Oh, they don't really have a smell. Okay, the brighter colours have a tiny bit of a smell because they say alcoholic-based pigment, but the new ones, the pastel ones, say water-based, which is interesting. Whoops. Sort of doing this backwards, which is proving to be interesting, but we'll get there. Oh, I do apologise. I can see my head's in the way. For anyone that's new to my channel, I do have low vision. I can't drive a car because my vision sucks. So usually when I'm doing this, I will get... Oh, my head's in the shot again because I can't see what I'm doing without my glasses on. My glasses aren't really helping either. My glasses are more distance vision, so this is sort of close up. So I apologise. I'm trying to keep my head back, but then it's hard to see. And it does get a bit slick over the magazine, so you just got to be a bit careful. God, this pattern is going. Trying to keep it to a dash, and talking and trying to craft, and that doesn't really work, but oh well. Thought you might like to see if you're still around, great. If you're not, that's okay. You found something better to do in your day. That's right, we don't have much to go yet. Oh, we're really going off the rails on this one. That's right, you won't tell anyone, will you? I'm sort of trying to follow the curve of the arc of the thing. And now I don't know what pattern I'm going to do in the white. So I do like how the light colour in the background and then the darker colour on top. What colour are we going to do in here? I only grabbed those two colours out, didn't I? What other colours have we got that are darker? That will go over cream. Maybe the pink. Let's see if this pink's any darker. Oh, this one's activated too. Okay. Just going to go back to our dashes. This one's more of a fluoro pink, and then I'll chuck a second colour in. Then we might do some black outlining, which I think it needs. So as I said, this may be for you, this may not be for you. It's just something I saw and thought I would try. What I also tend to do is, if I'm just not filming and crafting, my book... Oh, I just went off the paint colour. I wonder if I can quickly quickly find a baby wipe. No, it's there forever. That's right. I might put some more cream up there in the background. See? I think I need to get new glasses for close-up work. I have to go back to my optometrist and say, I can't see. Okay, now what colour are we going to put in that? I like just the pink and purple here. I like these two-tone colours. This we need a colouring. What colour are we going to put? Maybe we put... Maybe we put small lines of pink. We'll use these ones. It's hard to see if she uses different colour lines as well in her. Oh, cute. Hard to see if she uses different colour pen lines, because I can't see that detailed with the way she's got her page zoomed out, or whether she's just doing it in the same colour pens. But even just that little bit of dashingness. Oh, we're making up words today. And we're going to do it up here. Yeah, I'm going to go in and do cream around that bit up there to fix my mistake. You can see the different thicknesses of the lines. Okay, let me go fix. What colour was that? Was that this colour? No, I don't know. For the cream colour. No, I think it was this colour. I'm going to turn my book upside down quickly. Sorry to give those a headache. So I can see up here. Was that colour? Doesn't seem as dark. Oh well. You won't notice it. You wouldn't notice if I pointed it out. Now, I think it needs black outlining because I black outline absolutely everything. But I don't think it needs a thick black outline. So I'm going to delve into my black case and get a... Whoops. The lid wasn't on properly. A PC1M, which is a thinner nib. Because I think the black outline would have... Oops. I think this pen's nearly on the way out too. I've been doing a lot of prep for classes with a lot of line work in them, and my Posca paint pens are getting very low. And I tend to not throw them out until I have saturated every little bit of paint out of them. There we go, that one's running a bit better now. And if you find a paint pen's not working, leave it 24 hours. I know this sounds ridiculous, but sometimes leaving it for a little bit and coming back to it, it works a bit better. So sometimes I put my paint pens in a sin bin and then come back to them a few days later, and if they're still playing up, well, that wasn't really going over the lines, was it? Oh, I'm doing a horrible job of keeping within the lines. Let's just dry that off. Oh God, I can't even trace over the same line. Seriously today, I don't know what is up with my brain. But it's not having a fun day. So you can see my book's turning a bit, so ideally I would actually we need to fix this a little bit up here. I don't think that's the right colour. I like to put my caps on the end of my pens and then I know where they are. And then I need this one back again just to make... I know I'm being pedantic now. And you can see the little bit of glitter on those pens too. I think I'm going to stop. I think she goes in and does a third layer, but I don't really want to wreck it. Knowing when to stop is half the point of art journaling, or half the problem of art journaling. I don't know what I'm going to do on that page. Ew, look at the green paint. I was teaching in a class and I just grabbed my journal and used up the extra paint. I like it. It's, probably wish I'd cut that bit off now. Oh well, it's first attempt. I think she does need a quote of some description, which I will go find. I've got a couple of quote books I will grab and we'll put a quote on her and then we'll call it done. Now the lady that I saw this on YouTube doesn't put quotes on it, but I decided that it needs a quote. And I just grabbed what handy was my Art by Marlene quote books. I'm just thinking a quote here would work really well. How about art can change your life? We've sort of changed her clothes. I like these stickers by Art by Marlene, but I will add some more glue. Where is my glue? Because we're going over paint pen, I don't trust the stickers. The stickers are great when you stick them on like paper, but I find, and I'm not saying it's the Art by Marlene stickers I don't trust. I don't trust any stickers to stick over paint. So I always add extra adhesive to any sticker I stick on to my art journal pages, whether it's got paint under it, whether it's got gesso under it, whether it's got matte gel medium. The stickers are only really supposed to stick to paper. So to make sure it's on there, I just use a bit of liquid glue. I like this one at the moment. All-Purpose Art Glue by Couture Creations. Mainly because you can get the small fine tip for it, which I didn't use. But you can take this metal bit off and use it with a thicker tip. And this pen gives you a really fine tip for really small stuff. And it's the pin that comes with the fine tip stops it from clogging. And you can buy... this comes in 3 sizes. I think this is a middle size. And it's getting low. Let's trace around that. For that, I like to use my thinner Posca paint pen. Oh, I have Posca paint pens in every size. Look, I'm being tidy. I'm actually putting my black ones away. Don't fall off your seat, everyone. So now that's not standing out as much as I'd want, and ideally I'd wait a little bit. Yes, I could go type something on the computer, but sometimes having pre-typed out quotes can just make your work a lot easier. And then you'd have to come up with a quote. Oh, shit. Sugar. Did I swear? No, you didn't hear me swear. I said sugar. Trying to trace. I know, I'm sorry, my head's in the way. Just give me a second. I sort of traced around it messily in a few spots, so I was making a bit more mess. So let's call that page done. Another page done and dusted in my art journal page. And my opinion on the paint pens, I really like them. I like the colours. I am going to, that's not the right page. Oh, this paint pen. Need to make sure these caps are on quite tight. So I really like the colour of these pastel ones, and I really like the colours, the deep intense colours, the original ones. So having both sets, you don't double up in colours, which is really good. And the black and white ones are really good. And then these ones are going to be fun to use as accents more than like large areas. And these paint pens did cover the large areas really well. And I'm happy except for this bit, but I'll get over it. It's just, I could have flipped through. I could have left a hand there, really. I should have left a hand there. Oh well, too late now. And I might go clean up. Oh no, that's where the page finishes, is it? Yeah, it is. I was going to say clean up this. But it's hard to paint back to this colour. But hey, it's a page done in my art journal. Finished. This book is getting closer to finished. I had to play with my paint pens. I sat down and did some art. That's what matters. And I think I will be buying definitely an extra couple of sets of the black and white because I can see myself using those a lot. And what I say, $1.12 versus $5.55 is a bargain. And I may even get a second set of the pastels. I was unsure whether I'd like the colours, but I do like the colours. They're not real pastel. They're pastel plus a bit, and then they work really well with the darker colours too. I'll leave you there. I've probably kept you long enough. If you have stuck around to the end, thank you very much. I'm hoping to be a bit more frequent on this channel. I've got quite a few other things that I bought at Kmart that I want to try out. It's just finding that thing called time to sit down and do something. And I'm sure we're all time poor at the moment, which is story of my life lately. Thank you very much. I'll make sure I'll link this lady below that does the much better version of this, but something funky and something cool to do. And a good way to test out my paint pens.